Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me on Their Fight Story with Igdalia. We have Jake Congdon with us. He is a martial artist. Jack, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How did you get into mixed martial arts?
I started doing Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu when I was 8. So I was that kid, according to my parents, that had way too much energy. Like if you left me alone for 5 minutes, they'd come back and find me 40 feet up a tree or something like that. Always getting into trouble. Just too much energy, and needed somewhere to kind of focus it towards. And so after seeing Rocky, my parents got me into Taekwondo and Jiu-Jitsu at Lakeville MMA, and the rest is kind of history. Just fell in love with it. It was a great way to kind of teach me discipline and a good spot to get the energy out like I needed to.
Most definitely. And how do you feel that mixed martial arts has impacted your life?
I mean, because I've been involved in it so long, I'd say it's been a pivotal part of shaping who I am as a person. Just the discipline that it's instilled in me, the perseverance, pushing through things that are hard in life. In and out of the cage, what you learn in class, you kind of take some of it outside, and it's like you're faced with some challenge, you're gonna push
Mhm.
forward, and you're gonna find a way to adapt and overcome. And then along with that, I think another a big tenet of that is doing the right thing, like integrity wise. Like,
Mhm.
we learn these skills, but knowing when to use it and when not to use it, and how to conduct yourself in a respectful manner and being humble.
Yes, it is. It's that's a great point that you said because so many people have a lot of like negative stereotypical things about fighters, but it's important that people understand that when you actually go to a gym and you're trained with the discipline and the integrity and what comes with it. So it molds you into knowing how to control all your different emotions.
Exactly right. That's what it comes down to is mastering yourself
Mhm.
and controlling whatever's in front of you, whatever it is, as much as you can.
So your last fight, you won your welterweight title.
Yep. You
How was
know it.
that feeling?
It was great. So I'd won it back in November and then defended it there in June off of I had sprained my hip and my MCL back in like early spring. And
Mhm.
I was originally slated to fight back in March or April, I want to say, and had to push it back because of the injury. And it's the first injury I've had in my career that's forced me to push a fight back. And it was just a major bummer. So, I just totally laid up for a couple weeks, not able to train. But it really kind of made me appreciate, like, you know, dude, you're pretty lucky to be able to train
Mhm.
and go out there and compete and do the thing that you love to do. So, coming off of that, I just worked really hard and got back into things as soon as possible. Defended the belt, another first round finish.
Mhm.
So to have all that work and all that time, because it was
Mhm.
probably in total more like 4 months with that fight on my mind. It was great to have it pay off and to defend the belt and
Mhm.
my spot as the best amateur in New England. But we're giving that up. We're moving up the ladder.
What motivates you to get into the cage?
I would say the drive to uh, be the best that I can. And if I don't have that sort of extreme challenge that I'm kind of pressing upon myself, and I don't have that opponent that I know that I have in the back of my mind that he's working too, you're just not going to work as hard in the gym. You're just not. It's just kind of a fact. So I really love kind of, yeah, taking things to the extreme that you can and just pushing myself. I just like pushing myself, to be the best version of myself that I can. And I feel like if I'm not competing and I'm not going out there giving myself the hardest test that I can, then I'm not going to be the best version of myself that I can be. So that's what pushes me.
You decided when we last spoke that you wanted to go pro.
Yeah.
What solidified it to be like, yes, it's now?
I mean, it feels like it's the natural next step, right? Like you get the title, defend it at the amateur level, and then I feel my skill set hangs with all the guys at the professional level. The strength condition I'm doing gets me into the kind of shape where I'll be able to hang with all the guys at the professional level.
Mhm.
And yeah, it really just comes down to, I believe that I'm ready. My coaches believe that I was ready, and ready to, not just hang with the guys, like I said before, but
Mhm.
to go in there and beat whoever they put in front of me.
You're going to be fighting Paul Teague. I
Yeah.
apologize for pronouncing his name wrong if I did. He's currently 1-5. How do you feel about that upcoming fight?
He's a wild man. So he
Mhm.
he just goes out and comes out swinging guns blazing. So I expect him to do the same thing. But I expect that I'm going to find an opening, and I'm going to capitalize on it, and I'm going to shut him down quick.
When you decided to go pro, did you have a specific fighter that you might have wanted to fight?
Nobody in particular. Whoever it is they put in front of me, I'll be good with it.
Yeah, we know you. We know you come from a great school, a great team, great fighters. So there's no doubt about your performance and what we're going to be seeing. You're undefeated, 5 fights. You defended your title. Some fighters take a few more fights before they go pro. But then again, it all depends on their coach and their level and if they feel they're ready to go pro. And clearly, there's no question about you. I mean, we all knew once you got your title that you were just gonna go pro.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I could have done, but here we are all the same, right? But definitely ready now. Finished everybody within 5 minutes with all my other fights, so definitely ready to keep moving up the ladder.
Yeah. Is your goal to finish it in the first round?
My goal is always to finish it. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily care when, but I'm always working to build towards a finish,
Mhm.
and generally, it just winds up happening early on like that. But I definitely intend to, yes.
Is there anything specific about Paul that you've seen that either stands out to make this a particularly great fight for you?
Well, what's interesting is that he has a traditional martial arts background too. So he throws a lot of the sort of karate style kicks, like high kicks, spinning back fists. So you don't usually get those type of matchups now where it's like
Mhm.
it's two guys that have the traditional martial arts backgrounds, and you see those kicks from, like, I don't know, like a Bruce Lee movie or something like that happening really in the cage. So I think it'll make for an interesting striking mix, and it'll be exciting. Definitely be high power, and just real exciting.
If you could go back, which I mean, it's kind of like you've had 5 fights undefeated, but if you could go back and you could change anything, or is there one fight particularly that stands out the most for you?
My first couple of fights, I went in like kind of emotional,
Mhm.
and like made a couple of really big mistakes. So my first fight, I went in and just kind of walked across the center of the ring, tried to throw a front kick to the face, and got taken down pretty soon thereafter because of it. I didn't get taken down right off the kick, but it allowed him to get the range to take me down. I was way taller than him. And it was, looking back on it, it's like, dude, you don't need to try to take him out with the first shot that you throw. It's like, um, yeah, but just the first fight, jitters, just super pumped up, trying to get myself ready. And it's like, you don't really need to be in that state. You want to just be as calm as possible,
Mhm.
see everything you can. I did something similar in my second fight where it was like the first time he hit me really clean, which was in like the first exchange, he kind of just came out swinging big, and it landed good. And I just kind of nodded and said, "Okay, you want to swing? We'll do that." And I walked into another one, and then we started grappling, and I got the better of that exchange. But just stuff like that, like don't get emotional and go walking into one of their strikes or walking
Mhm.
into their game plan. Just stick to the plan, see things clearly, and the finish will come from there.
When that happens, what gets you back on track?
I think it's really just like the second things kind of start to slow down, like my mind kind of resets, and it's kind of like, okay, you've been here before. Like I said earlier, like I've been doing it since I was 8. I was a kid. So like
Mhm.
I've been in all these spots many times and I've been pushed through a lot of uncomfortable positions. And it's like, okay, once that first adrenaline dump is out of the way, most people are gassing out. They're getting a little bit worried at that point. And for me, it was kind of like, okay, now settle down. You know what to do from these positions. Start working this. Get back to your game plan. Stop being a total caveman out there.
What are you expecting? Because now you can throw knees and elbows.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
excited about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, especially with my frame for the weight class,
Mhm.
being a lot taller and longer than guys, having knees to deter people from trying to grapple me is going to be nice.
I look forward to it. It's going to be an
Yeah,
interesting, amazing fight for you.
thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward.
Yeah. Is there any advice that you would like to share with the upcoming fighters that are trying to decide whether or not to go pro?
That's tough because it's so specific, and your coaches are going to know you better than anything I can say. I and my coaches kind of wanted me to go along the path of like build your way up to the amateur championship,
Hmm.
secure that, and then go pro. So like face the best guys in the region that you can at the amateur level uh, before you make the jump to go pro. I guess that's all I can really say.
Do you feel that you've in your amateur career experienced a well-rounded, diverse type of fighters?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So my first opponent, Sean Rigo, was a shorter, stockier. He might have been like 5'7", wrestling type
Mhm.
guy, wrestling ground and pound. And he put me on my back, and I had to find a way to sub him off my back. So that was, you know, one guy. Jordan Butler was kind of like a scrappy brawler type dude, but he was good on the ground as well. Bobby Homer is 6'4" at 170, Muay Thai guy. So that was a unique challenge. Then Steve Foley was a black belt in jiu-jitsu, who was a little bit smaller than me, but around my frame, sort of like that quintessential
Mhm.
6 foot tall welterweight frame. So that was a different test, and a jiu-jitsu guy. And then, Shane Dilhay, my last opponent, he was a really good athlete and, pretty well-rounded as well. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like in terms of, builds of guys I've fought, everything from around my size to maybe like 5'7" to six
Mhm.
four, and all sorts of different skill sets too. So I feel like whoever it is, whatever their skill set, whatever their build at 170, I match up great with anybody.
Is there anything that you would like to share before we conclude with this interview?
I'm just pumped, ready to go. Honestly, I feel like I've put in a longer camp than ever for this. I put in more work than ever in terms of strength conditioning. My diet's on point. It's super dialed in for this. The weight cut's never easy,
Mhm.
and I would definitely like to have had more food today, but I feel better than I have in the past. And I'm just ready to go. I just can't wait for Saturday to be here.
You're doing what you need to do. You're staying focused. You are on the right path for your weight cut. Yeah, weight cuts always scare me. And I'm not even the one doing the weight cut. You know what I mean? But I see you guys, and I'm just always like really worried because you never know. It's scary at times.
Yeah, right. Like if you don't do it the smart way, then yeah, it's real bad and unhealthy. But and objectively, it's a dumb part of the sport. But we all do it to each other, so
Mhm.
it's kind of a little bit of a prisoner's dilemma. But we all play it, so part of the game.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to Saturday.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you
See you
very
then.